Welcome to another explainer. All right, let me ask you a really important question right out of the gate. Have you ever groaned out loud, I mean, like a really massive, dramatic sigh, when your parents asked you to do a chore? You know what I'm talking about. Maybe they asked you to clean up your room, take out the trash, or help wash the dishes, and you just thought, ugh, seriously, why me? Well, you are definitely not alone. But today, we're diving into a really fascinating devotional that totally flips how we think about chores and hard work. Okay, let's get into it. So, why do we actually have to do chores? Like, is sitting around on the couch playing video games and doing absolutely nothing all day the real secret to happiness? I mean, it sounds pretty great, doesn't it? But as we journey through today's devotional, we're going to discover a completely surprising answer. The text we're exploring today actually suggests that doing nothing might be the exact opposite of what makes us happy. Let's see where this crazy idea comes from. Listen to this super famous quote from the Bible, Proverbs chapter 6, verse 6. It says, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." The devotional starts right here with this tiny little insect. Now, a sluggard, that's just a fancy, old-fashioned word for someone who is being really, really lazy. And the author is challenging us to look super closely at a tiny little ant. Ants are literally always busy. They're always building, always working together. You never see them just sitting around on tiny little ant couches, right? They teach us this massive lesson about getting up and getting moving. So that brings us to section 1, Adam's first garden job. Let's fire up our imaginary time machine and travel all the way back to the very beginning of the world. The devotional shows us that work isn't just some annoying modern punishment your parents totally invented to keep you busy. Not at all. Work is actually this epic storyline that spans the entire history of the universe. It started way back in the Garden of Eden with caring for the garden. It continues right now today with your daily chores. And it even goes all the way into our future in heaven. Work has just always been a huge part of God's perfect plan. Let's look at that very first step on our timeline. The devotional tells us something unbelievable about Adam and paradise. God placed our first parents in an Eden home where they had absolutely everything that was useful and lovely. I mean, literally nothing was missing. But even with all that mind-blowing perfection, the devotional says, the Creator knew that Adam could not be happy without employment. Even in a perfect paradise, God still gave Adam the job of caring for the garden. Why? Because if happiness was really just doing zero work, God would have left Adam unemployed. But God knew that having a purpose, having actual labor to exercise his wonderful body, was the ultimate recipe for human happiness. Moving right along to section 2, healthy bodies, happy hearts. Let's bring that time machine right back to the present day to see how work acts like a giant supervitamin. The devotional warns us that when our body is inactive, when we're just slumping around way too much, our blood flows sluggishly, and our muscles actually decrease in size and strength. We literally get weaker. But on the flip side, through physical exercise, breathing in that fresh air, and enjoying the sunlight while we work, we get so much stronger. The devotional calls these things blessings which heaven has abundantly bestowed on all. So moving your body to do a chore isn't just about getting a clean room. It's actually about pumping life and energy straight into your own muscles. And this brings us to the absolute core message of the devotional. It all boils down to these 3 big blessings of work. First off, it's a brilliant gift from God, absolutely not a curse. Second, as we literally just saw, it keeps our bodies strong and healthy. And third, and honestly, this is a really fascinating one, it keeps us out of trouble and mischief. That third point is so important that we really need to spend a little extra time on it. Which leads perfectly into section 3, dodging the mischief maker. Lean in close for this one because the devotional has a very serious warning for us. The author uses this awesome, maybe slightly gross, but totally perfect analogy. Imagine a stagnant pool of water. It's just sitting there, not moving at all. What happens to it? It gets offensive, smelly, and probably full of mosquitoes. The devotional says drowsiness and indolence, which is really just a fancy word for laziness, destroy godliness in the exact same way as that stagnant pool. But then picture a flowing stream. It's pure, it's moving, and it spreads health and gladness wherever it goes. So, which one would you rather be? A smelly, motionless puddle of laziness, or a fresh, pure, flowing stream of gladness? And here is a super famous line from the devotional that explains exactly why that stagnant pool is so dangerous. It warns that someone always finds some mischief still for idle hands to do. When your hands are idle, meaning they are doing absolutely nothing, it is incredibly easy to accidentally stumble right into trouble. I mean, think about it. When you're bored and unoccupied, isn't that usually the exact moment you start teasing your sibling, breaking a rule, or just getting into mischief? That's exactly why the devotional gives us this powerful truth. Diligent labor actually protects us. Working hard acts like a massive invisible shield. The text explains that honest, diligent labor keeps us from the snares, which are basically hidden traps, set by the devil and his evil angels. When you are totally focused and busy doing good, honest work, you are literally dodging the mischief maker. You are protecting your own heart and your mind just by staying actively employed. How cool is that? And the text gives us this really beautiful reassurance too. Sometimes we think, oh, but sweeping the floor is just so boring. But the devotional says, let no one be ashamed of work, for honest toil is ennobling. Listen to this. While the hands are engaged in the most common tasks, the mind may be filled with high and holy thoughts. You don't have to be sitting quietly in a church to think about God. You can literally be raking leaves, folding the laundry, or wiping down the kitchen counters, and your mind can be soaring with amazing, positive, holy thoughts. And our final stop today, Section 4, Working in Heaven. Let's fast forward our time machine one last time. You've probably seen those cartoons where people in heaven are just sitting around on fluffy white clouds playing golden harps and basically taking a nap forever, right? Well, the devotional totally busts that myth. It says, the redeemed will not live in a state of dreamy idleness. There certainly is and ever will be employment in heaven. Just like God knew Adam needed to work to be happy in Eden, God knows we will need awesome things to do to be truly happy in heaven. No converted person could ever be anything but a worker. But wait a second, doesn't the Bible promise us rest in heaven? Yes, absolutely. But the devotional redefines what rest actually means. Heavenly rest isn't some long, boring nap. It is finding true peace and joy by happily serving the Creator to whom we owe absolutely everything. It's the ultimate thrill of using our energy without ever actually getting tired to serve and create in perfect happiness forever and ever. So, we've traveled from the Garden of Eden to your living room floor all the way into heaven. We've learned that work is this brilliant gift that keeps our bodies strong, keeps us out of smelly, stagnant mischief, and is a huge part of our eternal future. So I want to leave you with this final, inspiring challenge. What holy thoughts will you think during your very next chore? The next time you are asked to clean your room, don't groan, smile. Remember this devotional, realize you are putting up your shield and dodging the mischief maker, and let your mind fill with incredible thoughts while your hands do the work. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.